Right, today we're going to continue with those composite or irregular volumes of irregular shapes. And I thought I would do a little play on the scenario we're going through right now. And I think we all have heard about and talked about toilet paper and paper towel rolls off and on since that we've been quarantined here and stayed at home. So those are our two questions for today. So this first one is asking us to find the volume of the toilet paper roll. So basically we're looking at where the toilet paper is. So sometimes I talk about that hollowed out piece in the middle. So they'll say find the volume of the hollowed out piece. So after I cut out this center cylinder, what's left there? So basically to find the volume of where the toilet paper would go on this roll, you're going to look at how the shape was made. So there's two shapes here. There's a larger cylinder and then there's a smaller cylinder. So basically you take the volume of the larger cylinder and then the volume of the smaller cylinder, and you think you would add or subtract those? And if you said subtract, you are correct, because you have to hollow that out in order to have the other piece there. So the volume of either cylinder is going to be the same, the area of the base times the height, and since the base is a circle, pi times the radius squared, multiply that by the height. So I'm going to do that twice, but I'm going to be doing it with two different cylinders. So I have to look very carefully at how these cylinders are created, specifically the radius versus diameter. So if I start with the larger one, where the toilet paper actually goes, they are giving me a radius, it's from the center to the edge, of 9 centimeters. So I'm looking at pi times 9 squared times the height of the toilet paper roll is 13. So here's where I'm not specifying in terms of pi or to the nearest decimal, so let's stick with in terms of pi for now. So from this point, I'm going to go grab my calculator, and I'm looking to find the volume in terms of pi. So I'm going to leave pi out of my calculator, so it's in my answer. So I'm going to type in 9 squared times 13, and I will get 1,053. So this is going to be 1,053 pi. That's an exact answer. I didn't specify if you should round or not, so we're not going to do that. And I'm going to subtract from that the volume of the piece that gets hollowed out of it. So that would be pi times, again, this 4 is a radius because it's going from the center to the edge, not all the way across like a diameter would. So pi times 4 squared, and the height is still 13. So notice for that paper towel, or the toilet paper roll here, the height is the same for both cylinders, but the circle that makes the cylinder changes. So again, I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to leave pi out of the calculator so that I have it in my answer. And this time, I am going to use 4 squared times 13 and get 208. So the smaller one is 208 pi, which makes sense. That pi is smaller than this pi. And then for my final answer, these are like terms. They both have pi in them. So I'm going to go back to this calculator, and I'm going to type in 1,053 minus 208. Let's go back there, 208. That leaves me with 845 pi. So if I want my answer in terms of pi, that's what my answer would look like. Let's go a step further and we say, I'm going to box that next to my answer. If I wanted it to the nearest, we'll say 10th. What do you do here? This is where I'm going to go and take pi and put it in the calculator. So 845 pi, and I get 2,654. And I just couldn't remember the whole decimal point there, so let's go back. 54.645792. 54.6792. So now that I have that, if I said to the nearest 10th, that's 1 decimal place. So this 4, the next in the second place, helps me decide if I keep the 5 or round it up. And you're right, since it's not 5 or more, I'm going to keep it. So to the nearest 10th, that would be 2,654 and 5/10, and that would be centimeters cubed. That would be my rounded answer. And then 845 pi, and I'm going to put my label in there, centimeter cubes. That would be my answer in terms of pi. All right, let's try this one more time with that paper towel roll. So what is the volume of the paper towel roll? So again, since I didn't specify where we want the exact answer, which also means we want to leave pi in our answer. So we'll say in terms of pi. Since I didn't specify a decimal place, we don't get to make up which one we round to. So again, if I think about how that paper towel roll is created, it's made up of 2 cylinders. So I started with a cylinder, and then I have to hollow out or take out, so yep, I'm going to subtract the volume of the smaller cylinder. So I have 2 cylinders that I'm finding their volumes of, so just have to be careful of, in the cylinder formula, if I have a radius or if I have a diameter. So volume of a cylinder is the area of the base, which is a circle, so pi times radius squared times the height. So for the larger cylinder, before I hollowed out that middle piece, I have a radius here. It goes from the center to the edge of 6. So for the larger cylinder, it's pi times 6 squared times the height, which the stretch from circle to circle. I'm trying to trick you by putting it on its side. The stretch is 15. So I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to leave pi in my answer. So I'm going to leave it out of the calculator. So this time, what did we say here? Move this just a little more. So we'll say 6 squared. Multiply that by 15, and I will get 540 pi is the volume of the larger cylinder in terms of pi. Now the smaller cylinder, I'm going to take pi times the radius squared, but if you look, this is a diameter this time. It's going all the way across the circle from one side to the other through the center. So this time I have to find the radius. The radius is going to be 3 divided by 2. Which is 1.5 or 1 and 5/10. So pi times the radius of 1.5 squared, and the height is still the stretch from circle to circle, which would be 15. So again, I'm going to type this in my calculator, but not pi. I'm going to leave pi in my answer till the very, very end, and then I can decide if I needed to round or not. So if I go back here, this time I want to take 1.5 and square that, and then multiply that times 15, and I get 33 7/75, and that is pi. So again, larger, smaller. I'm going to subtract the larger and the smaller. So I'm going to go back to my calculator once again. I want 540. Take away the answer that I just had, 33 7/75. I get 506 and 2,500. And that is in terms of pi, and we said we're going to leave the answer exact or in terms of pi because I didn't specify what to round to. So 506 and 2,500 pi, and we'll say inches cubed. That's how much space is taken up by the paper towel. So what's the volume of the hollowed out cylinder? That's the large cylinder. Take away the smaller piece in the center, leaves you with what's left around it. All right, thank you.